Presidential primary. Polls show that Mitt Romney is opening a comfortable double-digit lead over Newt Gingrich, who just a week ago was the frontrunner. The majority of those surveyed are saying that Romney is the better candidate to fix the U.S. economy, but Gingrich isn't giving up just yet. He's vowing to fight on until the Republican convention in September. And joining us now is James Pethokoukis, editor of the Enterprise blog at the American Enterprise Institute and a CNBC contributor. Thank you so much for being here with us. Let's talk about the Florida primary today and some of the momentum that we've seen. Romney looks like he's ahead here, but Newt came out of South Carolina very strong. Where has he lost his footing, and why is he not likely to move ahead in Florida?
Well, listen, Mitt Romney has certainly opened a blizzard of negative ads on Newt Gingrich and highlighted both his time as Speaker of the House, where he was under ethics violations, and also his links to Freddie Mac, which a lot of Republicans really blame Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac for the entire housing crisis. So the links about saying you're linked to those organizations about the worst thing you could say about it. So listen, Mitt Romney has a big lead, but I don't think Newt Gingrich is going to go away, even if he ends up losing by 10 or 12 points.
Right. He doesn't go away. But in terms of the sort of not Romney vote in Florida right now, you think it'll be split between Gingrich and Santorum, but there'll be enough of a lead that Romney still moves ahead? Listen,
they've done polls where kind of take Rick Santorum out of it, and Mitt Romney is still beating Newt Gingrich by a healthy amount. So that not Romney vote is still going to be there. That's another reason why these guys are going to stick around and try to collect those not Romney votes.
Yeah.
But we had a tremendous boost for Mitt Romney to really go through the entire month of February winning, and then we'll see what happens on Super Tuesday when the Southern states vote.
Yeah, absolutely. And meantime, we also have joining us Krystal. She's the Democratic strategist, former candidate for Congress in Virginia. Krystal, I want to get your view on this as well as we go into Florida. I mean, we've seen a lot of these debates lately, a lot of hot button issues. Healthcare seems to really be on the docket, especially with the news coming out from the S&P. What is going to shape what happens in Florida today?
Well, interestingly, I think it's been more about the candidates' personas. It's been more about their styles than it has really been about their economic plans or their health care plans. As was just mentioned, not only was it the $16 million worth of negative ads that were dropped on Newt Gingrich, but also some very aggressive debate performances by Mitt Romney last week, two of them, and some rather subpar performances, on the other hand, by Newt Gingrich. So that's what's been really driving the conversation. I was actually at a rally yesterday for Newt Gingrich. The crowd was quite small. They were very enthusiastic. They were very anti-establishment. But Newt showed up about 2 hours late. It was quite chaotic. And again, I think it would be generous to say that there were maybe 200 people in the crowd.
Krystal, it's Ross here. Do you foresee this will ever turn into a debate about policies, or is it always going to be personality?
Well, honestly, in this field, to give the voters and the candidates some credit, the candidates are very close in terms of policy. Their positions aren't that different. So it's kind of come down to this battle between the establishment Republicans and the more Tea Party, conservative, anti-establishment wing of the party. Yesterday, one of the big applause lines in the intros was that Newt Gingrich would be the candidate to take on the RNC, the Republican National Committee, as well as the DNC. So in a lot of ways, these contests always come down to personality and style.
And speaking of personality and style, when you look at the candidates on the Republican side attacking each other as we move forward, and eventually we're going to get down to one nominee that goes up against President Obama, does this really sort of attack their credibility and make it difficult to move forward when we get into the real race?
I think you've hit the nail on the head. I mean, for Mitt Romney, the $16 million worth of negative ads that he has run here in the state of Florida will help him win today, more than likely. But looking forward to, if he is the eventual nominee, Florida is a critical swing state for November for the general election. Now, independents are moving away from Mitt Romney in part because they don't like this barrage of negative ads. President Obama is winning independents in the state of Florida by a margin of about 50 to 36. So I think this is doing long-term damage to the candidate's credibility.
And James, Krystal talks about the money that Romney spent there. How much does the fact that he's just got a much better organisation help him as we sort of go beyond this into March?
Well, I mean, that's tremendously important. Once we get out of Florida, we're not going to be having all these debates, which Newt Gingrich has really relied upon to help boost his popularity. Now it's going to be about organization. It's going to be about money. Mitt Romney spent a lot of money. He's going to raise a lot more money. That's not going to be a problem for him. So really, you have a month of really an open field for Mitt Romney to run ads, spend money, win caucuses, win states, and before we get to March. And I think it's going to be very tough for Newt Gingrich to come back, in March and suddenly, retake the lead again.
Yeah, and even if he can hang on through February, where there are this continued schedule of sort of one-off primaries and caucuses, then we get to March and Super Tuesday, and I just don't think that Gingrich has the organization to compete in more than one state at once. So that's when it really comes down to organizational skills and, again, to money.
Jim, let me ask you a question. One of the famous, political stories was when Abraham Lincoln was running. He had a lot of disparate elements in that emerging Republican Party. How might Mitt Romney take these different views within the Republican Party and coalesce a winning group?
Well, I mean, Mitt Romney has tried to be a full-spectrum conservative, full-spectrum Republican, economic policy, pro-life on the social issues, a very aggressive and robust foreign policy. So I think, on the issues, he's already there. It's just, do people have confidence in him? Do they think he's a good messenger, and do they believe him? And, he has, quite a few months to continue to make that case. But I think people have been scared a little bit by the Gingrich boomlet that he was going to be the nominee, and they believe he might bring down the party. So after this, I think Mitt Romney's going to start looking a lot better to a lot of Republicans.
Yeah, but hopefully his Wall Street background and his ability to sort of lead as a businessman won't be, attacked by the other side. Hopefully that will be seen as a positive. Thank you so much, Krystal Ball, joining us from the remote there. And James, thank you so much for coming in early this morning and joining us on the program.